Okay,
Lovely.
didn't know that. Okay. That may be because the last time I came here, Instagram wasn't a thing, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
I should come more often, definitely. Okay, so let's begin our journey through Impressionism with our first masterpiece, because, as we said, Paris is the city of Impressionism, right?
Yeah. So we have probably the best collection of impressionist paintings in France and probably in the world. And this collection allows us to tell the story of Impressionism from the very beginning, so from the mid-19th century in France toward the early 20th century also in France.
Mm-hmm.
And we have all this gallery here that we are going to walk in to explain what is Impressionism from the beginning to the end, who are the greatest artists of the movement, and probably this painting here is a good way to start this
To
journey.
introduce them. Yeah.
You have
That's
the
the
cast.
wall of fame, right? This painting.
It's the cast of what Impressionism is.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are at the very beginning of the movement, so we have to have in mind that we are in Paris in the 1860s,
Mm-hmm.
and these are young artists,
Mhm.
mostly male artists, but you will see other artists that are
Great.
women after, and they want to change the art. They want to change the world, and they want to change painting.
Because the art was like really the artistic movement was really academic. It was like neoclassicism, history, mythology, you know, and that's serious. That's only inside. We paint inside atelier and stuff like that. And so they decided to change the way to do it. How?
Exactly. They wanted to change it, and they had strong affinities. They were really a group of artists.
Okay.
That's
a crew. That's
a crew.
friends.
Yes, it's almost
Okay.
a gang, and you can see them here. They are reunited around one man in particular. That's here in the
They don't
center.
seem really happy, right?
No, they're very serious.
Oh, they are.
No,
Yeah.
they're very serious. What is strange is they are very young men.
Yeah.
They are in their 20s.
They need the
early
credibility,
30s.
so
Yes.
they look serious.
Exactly.
Okay.
They were considered as rebel at that time.
Yeah.
And so this painting.
So that's punks.
yeah.
They are punk. Okay.
And this painting is here to say, okay, they are young. They are going to make new art,
Mhm.
but they are not like hippies
Mhm,
with long
mhm,
hair
mhm.
and. No, they are proper, they are very serious, they are respectable, but they are going to change
Okay.
the art world.
This painting is saying, take us seriously.
Exactly. We
Okay.
are going to change the art. And the first who is going to do that, our master, you can see him here in the center, is Edouard Manet. Edouard Manet, we are going to see one of his master works after that. He is really the hero of this generation.
Okay.
You can see he's in the center, he's painting, and all his admirers, you can say his followers, are around him. So some of them are now famous,
Mhm.
so we can see them, like for example this one with the hat,
Yeah.
which look like a portrait in the portrait,
Oh,
with
yeah,
a frame on the
right.
head. This is Auguste Renoir,
Oh,
Who's
the
going to be
really
very
famous one. I'm
famous.
going to see some of his paintings.
the one that is looking on the other side, like here with the beard. That's the writer Émile Zola, who was also very close to this generation. of
Émile
artists.
Zola, never heard about him. I don't know who he is. So many stars here, actually.
You are the biggest, the tallest of them, the very elegant,
Yeah,
very
he
chic
is a
man.
giant, right?
This is a man named Frédéric Basile.
Mm-hmm.
He was also very close to them, but he died very young in the Franco-Prussian War.
Okay.
So that's why we are not going to hear of him later. And this little man on the edge of the painting, which looked like a bit shy. And
Yeah, it's like punished.
we don't know who it is. It doesn't seem very important here.
Yeah.
But it's Claude Monet, and
yeah.
he's going to be probably the most famous artist of the group. He's going to be
Definitely.
the star, and today he's probably one of the most famous artists in all art history. So it's really interesting because
He's in the shadow.
he's in the shadows,
Yeah.
but quickly he's going to be probably the most
Okay.
important artist.
But right now he's not, right?
No,
Okay.
he's in the shadow of Edouard Manet, and there is a sort of competition between the two painters, Edouard Manet and Claude Monet. Claude Monet is a bit younger. Claude Monet doesn't come from the same family background. Edouard Manet comes from a very high society background. He's from the upper class of the society, and he's a bourgeois, you can say. Claude Monet is from it also comes from a wealthy family, but it comes from a more. His parents have a shop in Normandy, so it's not exactly the same.
Middle class.
More middle class, yeah. And so they are a bit in competition, and they also have almost the same name, like Monet and Manet.
Yeah.
And it's fun because Manet presented a painting at the Salon in '65, and next to his painting was another painting by Monet. And the critics were they really loved the Monet painting, and Manet thought it was a joke, like someone had taken his name, and he was quite
that's the way
angry.
He discovered him?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So he discovered that there was a young artist, almost his name, who was doing very innovative painting and art.
And sorry.
No, and we are going to see
we are going to compare actually two versions of the same subject, one from Monet, one from Manet. Same subject, really famous also, guys. Welcome if you're joining now. We are at Orsay Museum, and in Paris, France, of course. And here is one of the most famous ever painting you can see here, definitely, as the Déjeuner sur l'herbe de Manet. So we were talking about how Manet and Monet are actually rivals, kind of. And
you really can see that with this painting and the one that is opposite in the same gallery. We are very lucky at Musée d'Orsay for having these two masterpieces of the early years of Impressionism. So here you have a painting named The Luncheon on the Grass, Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe, by Edouard Manet, painted in 1863. And this painting is in some way considered like a milestone in the birth of modern painting. So it looks like an ancient painting, like it's a big painting, there was a landscape, still life, naked woman, people like enjoying themselves in nature. But in fact it was absolutely new and quite scandalous.
It was really scandalous, right?
Yeah.
Why?
It was scandalous for two reasons. First reason is because of her.
Naked woman.
There's a naked woman in a picnic.
All the time. That's because she's in a picnic, right?
Yes.
Because all the time we can see at the same period naked Venuses in mythology themes and stuff like that. As we said earlier, like the same year, a painter called Cabanel painted the birth of Venus completely naked on the sea. So what? And there wasn't any scandal for this painting,
because
right?
This naked woman was a goddess, and so it was okay.
Okay for a goddess.
It was okay to
not for
a nude woman if she was a goddess, but here she's not a goddess at all. She's a real woman of the 19th century.
And you can't do that.
You can see that she's not like eternally nude. She has.
She doesn't have nipples, right?
She had pulled off her dress, her hat, and she's in the middle of a conversation with men, and they are with clothes.
And so nobody cares.
And nobody understands, in fact, why is that. She's absolutely not shy.
Yeah,
like you can see
she's looking at us.
Her eyes. And that's something also very daring.
Provocative.
Very provocative. She knows you are looking at her.
Yeah.
She knows you are kind of enjoying her nudity.
And she don't care.
And she doesn't
care.
Because she's
like,
aware.
Yes, so
she's
what?
aware of you.
So what, guys? Look at me. Yes, I'm naked. So what?
So when Edouard Manet tried to show this painting at the official annual exhibition in Paris at that time, it was rejected by the academic jury because it was considered scandalous and obscene, because in the mind of the 19th century people, she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
She cannot be something else, or she's not a
Okay.
very respectable woman.
Not a
And
goddess,
that-
definitely.
Exactly. And the other thing, which is which was very new and that people didn't really like in this painting, is the way it is painted.
Mhm.
As you can see, even the body is not idealized. That's a
Yeah.
real woman. She has like her
The
flesh.
bourrelet, yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
She's not idealized. That's a real body, and people even find her ugly at that time.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think she's beautiful.
And today we love her. We think
Yeah.
she's beautiful, but she was not considered beautiful at that time.
Mhm.
And the painting itself is not beautiful. You can see the brush stroke. It's very loose. It's almost
Not
unfinished.
precise. Okay. Okay.
And so people were like, but why do you show this painting? It's not finished. You have to finish it before.
That's a sketch.
And for Manet, no, it's finished, and you want to show it like that. So
Okay.
that's why this painting was so important for the next generation. And the next generation is especially Claude Monet, who
Yeah.
have seen
They
this.
said, let's not finish our painting.
he would say he would do the same. And also Monet, so the youngest artist, saw that Manet kind of became very popular because of that. So it was a scandal, but at the same time he gained a sort
Yeah.
of fame.
Yeah, he went to
So
the
scandal is a way to gain
Yeah,
fame and
definitely.
to be famous and to have.
bad buzz. You know, guys, bad buzz is still buzz.
So he wants to do better than than Manet, and that's why he's making this painting in the opposite direction of the room,
Mhm.
which is
Same
at the same
subject.
time a tribute, an homage to
Really,
Manet.
is it really, or is it provocative because they are rivals?
It's both. It's
Okay.
a tribute, but
Okay.
also a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, okay, you are doing a luncheon on the grass,
Mhm.
but your luncheon on the grass isn't a real luncheon on
Okay.
the grass. You are painting in your studio.
Oh yeah,
It's
he
not-
painted it inside.
Yeah, this one was
Okay.
in the studio.
Mhm.
And so Monet is saying, I'm going to do the same, but with real person,
Mhm.
out of doors, in a real forest. This is the forêt de Fontainebleau, near Paris, with real people who are his friend and girlfriend. Here you can see this woman here is his girlfriend, Camille.
Okay.
And
Lovely dress.
she's going to become his wife. Friends, you have Frédéric Basile, the tall guy is Frédéric Basile. And probably here, this man with a big beard, is maybe Gustave Courbet, another
Okay,
important
yeah,
painter.
Best stash ever, right?
And the painting is huge. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's definitely
That's
huge. But
enormous.
the frame is really strange, isn't it?
Yes, because what you see here is not the actual original huge painting.
Mhm.
It's just fragments of it, because Monet wanted to make a very large painting, 4 meters to 6 meters in size, but it was too big for him. So he really wanted to
Too
do it,
ambitious.
but it was too ambitious,
Mhm.
and at the end, he didn't really manage to give the idea of plein air, of natural light, with such a big paintings.
Okay.
So he rolled the
So,
painting.
just a question.
Yeah.
He went outside with a painting that big to...
No, in fact, he made sketches
Okay.
in the
okay.
forest
Okay.
outside, and in
I was
the
like,
studio.
well, that's huge for the picnic, you know.
No,
Okay.
you cannot bring this huge
Yeah,
painting in the,
definitely.
in the
Okay, okay.
studio. But that's why it was
Eh,
not really.
So
the
the
method
challenge
wasn't good.
isn't completely...
And you
okay.
can see here the painting is really unfinished. The dress is not. It's really an unfinished
Okay.
painting.
But that's the thing, right? To unfinish the painting.
It's too unfinished.
Okay.
And so he rolled the painting in
Mhm.
the studio. He kept it in his studio. And you know, Monet at some moment of his life was really poor. He didn't sell any paintings, so he needed money. And he rented an apartment. And so to pay his landowner, he paid it with the painting.
Okay.
So one man took the painting, rolled, and put it in a very humid cellar
He
for
didn't
years.
really care.
No.
Okay.
And so for many years, this painting was stored in a humid cellar in the Parisian
Didn't know
suburbs.
how rich he could have been
Yes,
later
exactly.
with that.
He didn't
Okay.
knew
The famous guy
talent
who
of
was
Monet.
going to be okay.
And a few years later, Monet has more money now, and he wants to buy this painting again, back. So he's going to buy the painting back. He open it
By your own
in a way,
matter.
and he discovered that
It was
some
ruined.
areas of the painting has been really damaged by the humidity, by the water in the
Mhm.
cellar, and so he had to
Mhm.
cut some parts of the painting, and he just saved 3 parts of it, 3 fragments of the painting. We have 2 fragments at the Musée d'Orsay, and the third one we don't know where it is.
Oh really?
So
Wow.
if someday you find the third
Wow.
fragment of the Luncheon on the Grass by
God.
Monet, do tell
Let's
us.
find the
We will
missing
be
part
very
of the.
interested.
That could be okay. Let's ask internet. Internet, come on.
We
Let's
need
find and take it back to here, the Museum of Orsay. Okay. So Impressionism is about huge painting, right?
No.
Like this one is huge. This one is even huger.
At first, they want to be famous. They want to make
to
a name,
impressive, yeah.
and so they make big paintings.
Mm-hmm.
But they will soon realize that it's
Expensive.
very expensive, because this is expensive.
It's
you need
fragile.
like painting, you need time, so you don't
Yeah, you
make
need
money
a
with
lot
that.
of painting.
And
to-
nobody wants to buy it. So
That's
what do
that's
you
it,
do with your
okay.
painting?
Okay.
So finally, they changed to very smaller paintings.
Mhm.
As you can see here, these are all paintings from the 1870s, so a few years after this one. And this is much more typical of what an
Okay.
impressionist painting is. So it's a small size canvas, which is much better when you want to take your canvas
Mhm.
out of doors to paint directly on site. So you take the train, you go in the suburbs, in nature with your material. That's better.
Mhm.
And the second point is it's much more appealing to
For the
collectors,
buyers?
for the buyers,
Mhm.
because this you can put it in your home.
Mhm.
It's easy. And
That one's really famous, right?
and in fact today
Mm.
probably this painting is a poster in every
Yeah.
waiting room
Yeah,
for the
definitely.
doctors
Yeah.
and psychiatrists,
Yeah.
and you always have a Monet
Yeah, because you
painting.
feel good at your psychiatrist looking at this painting and you're like, okay, life's okay.
Yeah, and that's interesting also, how, in fact, this painting in the 1870s in Paris were very radical and innovative. And most people, when they look at a painting like that, they're like, it's ugly, it's
That's ugly,
unfinished,
mhm.
and I don't want to see the suburbs of Paris, and I don't want to see this woman.
Yeah,
And
I want to see
today-
the birth of Venus and
Yeah.
naked women, but that it's okay that
And I
they are
want to see a
wicked-
very
naked.
precise painting,
Yeah.
and here, like, how many times the painter have
Yeah, and did they say my children could do it?
It-
Like we say
Yeah,
today
it's the
for
same, yeah.
modern art.
My
Or
children can do it. You did that in like one day, so I can buy it.
Yeah.
It cannot be expensive if you have
it's
not
cheap.
spent hours
Mhm.
and hours and hours on your paintings. And the idea of Monet is saying the value of painting is not the time I spent
Mhm.
working on this, is
The emotion or
the all the time I spent looking at
Oh, right. Mhm.
at nature, and
To
maybe it can be very
catch.
quick to catch
Mhm.
the color, to catch the light, but that's what is important now.
yeah, that's something about Impressionism, right? Is that when you're close to it, you can see all the dots and stuff like that, and it's kind of blur, you know. But if you go further than it, you can see it's like coming more precise. You can see like it's a paradox, but you can see like more details if you're far from it. It's like really about the impression on your eye.
Impression is really the key word here.
Yeah.
Impression was the
Where's the name?
that Monet chose for one painting,
Mhm.
which is named Impression Soleil Levant. It's Impression
the
Sunrise.
beginning.
It's probably one of the most famous Monet painting. It's in the Musée Marmottan in Paris.
And it's a view of Le Havre.
Yeah, it's a view of Le Havre at sunrise, and it's very sketchy. Also because there were fog in the harbor of Le Havre. And Monet shows his painting at the first group exhibition of the Impressionist group and artists in 1874. And this painting, Impression Sunrise, was mocked by an art critic that despised this kind of painting, and who said, "What is this type of art? Like Impressionism? It's Impressionism." It was really ironic and negative in his word, but as often in the history of art, it's a negative word, and that became.
You reappropriate the word, exactly like
name.
when you say feminazi, to say yes, I am something like that, and it was an injury, and I reappropriate it, and okay.
And even the artists at the end, they will use this term, Impressionism, to speak about themselves.
And
so
okay, you want to call us like that? Let's do that,
Yeah.
and we don't. You know what? We don't care about. Yeah, okay.
And it's like choosing for this artist, choosing a word with negative content is also a way to say we are rebels.
And there were trolls, actually.
Yeah, and they want to appear like that because they are independent. They are not going to show their work with the rest of the academic art at
Not
the
the same
salon.
salon.
You don't like us, we don't like you either. And so we are going to make our group.
Okay.
And we are going to be independent.
Haters gonna hate. Yeah, okay. And so not only men in the group, right?
Yeah. And here we have one of my favorite paintings in the museum. It's the Butterfly Hunt, La Chasse aux Papillons by Berthe Morisot. So in this group of artists that show their art together,
Female painter.
there were men and women.
Yeah.
More men than women, but the women have a very important role in the organization of these exhibitions. And probably the most important is Berthe Morisot. She was in this group almost at every exhibition they organized, except 1 year because she just gave birth to a child, so she was not really in the mood to exhibit. But all the rest of the time she was every time here. And this is a perfect painting by Berthe Morisot. It's a perfect Impressionist painting. It's small, it's sketchy, it's quickly made, but at the same time it's very harmonious, it's very balanced, and there's this very incredible way to catch a moment, a fleeting moment, and even the subject is catching a butterfly. So why is it something more ephemeral than a butterfly in the hunt of a butterfly? So here all is about a moment that is going to pass very quickly. Also the children is also about something that's about time. The innocence of childhood. So everything is about time and childhood and innocence. Even the trees and the spring. So it's really a perfect painting to speak about what is
you really seem
a
to
true
like
impression. Yeah, I like it very
much. So Impressionism, is mostly about countryside, or because I mean déjeuner sur l'air, papillons, butterflies. Is it only on the countryside, the subject?
In the mind of a lot of people, Impressionism is landscape and beautiful sunny landscape. So, but that's cliché.
And nature, yeah.
And so we are going to see here in the next galleries some paintings that are maybe different than what we think Impressionism is. So here we have landscape, but maybe we can look at this.
But that's more urban.
That's a very famous painting.
Oh yeah.
I like it very much too.
Yeah, that's Renoir.
There's a trend today of people who don't like Renoir. Like, I don't know if you know Renoir, there's a hashtag on Instagram, Renoir sucks at painting, which is very popular.
Oh really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there also was protest in the USA to remove Renoir works from museums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was a bad painter. But they say he was.
Yeah, they say he's a bad painter, but when you look at a painting like that, how cannot you be amazed by his talent?
Well, that's
it's a
joy.
very complex composition.
Mhm.
There's many people and figures in the painting. It's complex in space also. So we are in Montmartre, in what was at that time the rural
Not Paris.
suburb of Paris, kind
Mhm.
of. So it's a Sunday afternoon, a popular ball with music. So we have the orchestra.
Was definitely a long time before the COVID, right? No need of mask, no.
No social distancing.
Yeah, I miss those days.
And it's all about the opposite of social distancing.
Yeah,
It's all about how society
Get closer.
get close and how it is all about also harmonious relationship between people.
Mhm.
And that's probably why Renoir is so linked to the idea of the art of happiness,
Mhm.
because what want to show Renoir is a happy society. So here you are in Montmartre. Montmartre was mostly populated by workers,
Mhm. That's
artists,
popular thing.
poor people. There were some prostitutes, and so it's a very popular place. And it was sometimes how do you say that? Scary for the bourgeois people. Like they didn't want to go there because it's dangerous.
Oh my god, the poor people,
Yeah.
come on.
And Renoir is showing the opposite. It's a happy society.
Yeah.
Different people from different backgrounds, from different age, from different social classes are
Was
melting,
Renoir,
are mixing together, dancing.
was Renoir from a popular?
Yes, Renoir.
Background?
You're
Yeah.
right. That's important to say. He was
Okay.
from a very popular background. His father was a tailor, and he always had this idea that popular was probably more authentic
Mhm.
than upper class society. And here is you can see also the flirt between men and women.
Mhm.
Um,
Idealized,
in an
right?
idealized society where there's no problem between men and women too. That's also
Yeah,
something
that's a
important.
kind of Instagram filter, right? Everything is perfect, no problem here.
And of course, idealized, because
Yeah.
at that time there were problems between men and women. They were not equal in society, but in Renoir's mind, he had this dream of a harmonious society where men and women were flirting in peace
And
under the light. And yeah.
as you can see, so we said it's in Montmartre in Paris, and we can actually see a little bit of Montmartre from the Orsay Museum where we are here. Actually, you can see the Sacré-Cœur, and well, it wasn't the city when Renoir painted it, but now it is like a huge touristic place.
So the Impressionist painter, like Monet, Renoir, they are going to paint every aspect of modern life. So you have the popular balls, you have a train station here, this is the Gare Saint-Lazare in Paris, not the Musée d'Orsay, but
So not an electric train station.
Here you have smoke, you have steam, you have movement, you have light, and Monet was the first artist to paint a train station. And he was really under the big glass hole. He wanted to show the animation, the movement, how the light is playing with the smoke. You can see the colors. That sort of kaleidoscopic aspect in this painting, which is very new.
He made so many of them, right?
Yeah, he made something like 15 or 17 paintings about the train station.
Yeah, right.
At the exact same time, you have another artist named Caillebotte, Gustave Caillebotte.
I love that one.
So this is also one of the masterpieces of the collection. And Gustave Caillebotte is a true Parisian. He was born in Paris, he lived in Paris, he's from a very wealthy bourgeois family, and here he's very interested in depicting what's happening in Paris. And so, during the Second Empire in France, mid-19th century, there is this big transformation of Paris and the expansion of the city with new buildings, new apartments, new everything. The city was completely transformed by this new architecture. And here is showing the floor scrapers that are working in a new Haussmannian apartment. and he shows a labor, people who are working, and that's also very new at that time.
Mhm. That's the second part of the 19th century, right? People are asking when.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, here we are in the 75. I'm sorry. So just after the Second Empire, the new transformation of Paris, and Caillebotte want to show the labor, and he want to show how beautiful can be bodies that are working, because that also at that time a body that was working is considered ugly. Also, it was not, and here are like they are not Greek
work
gods.
is like the small people working in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you want to show the gesture, you want to show the arms, the back, the light. So it's almost like
the
classical sculpture.
It's incredible.
The effect of light.
Yeah. And the wine.
And the wine, yeah.
That's
to keep the motivation while walking, you know.
Alcohol is something in this society, right?
Yes, and you can see another painting which is about the
less
the danger
less
of
healthy part
of alcohol.
The danger of alcoholism in this painting, definitely kind of scary. Look at his face. She doesn't seems really well. That could be a meme. Maybe that's already a meme on the internet, right?
So this is a painting by Edgar Degas. Edgar Degas is another very important artist of the Impressionist movement. He's very different from Monet, Renoir, Bertrand Morisot. He doesn't like to paint out of doors. He's not a landscape artist. He hates the landscape artist. One day he said that if he's going to see someone painting out of doors on the field, he will shoot him.
Oh,
so
okay, that's violence.
He had a great temper, and he's more interested in the depiction of the lower class of the society. And here it's a perfect example of Degas' talent, Degas' art. So you can see it's a new subject.
The capture of the moment.
Cafe, a Parisian cafe. He has perfectly catched the expression on the face of this woman who is just
having a bad day, right?
Having a bad day. She's sad,
thinking about
she's
life,
exhausted,
and about her own choices. And
you can see the body language. It's absolutely perfectly observed, like the line of the shoulders.
Yeah.
She's very how she put her head like this, and even the feet. Here you can see. That's not a normal, beautiful, pretty thing.
Not feminine pose.
That's another aspect of Parisian modern life.
We are like inside the painting. We feel like we are kind of voyeur. You know, we are inside with the tables and we are looking at them. And what is she drinking?
Absinthe.
That's what I thought.
Very popular alcohol in the 19th century, but very, very dangerous.
Don't try this at home, guys. That's really.
So Degas is also famous for dancer. Here we have a collection of
dancer, of course.
Bronzes and wax sculpture of dancers and paintings. We have a great collection of Degas dancer, which is also very interesting because today, when we think of dancer, we think of pretty little girls and the beautiful ballet opera of the opera. But in the 19th century, these girls, most of them were coming from very popular and modest background, and some of them were also sometimes prostitutes.
Okay.
And that's something people of the 19th century really see when they saw a painting like that. And even when you look at the
You mean the child were prostitutes?
Young girls, they were adolescent girls, absolutely. And when you see a painting like that, it's a repetition of a ballet at the opera. But you can see there's women here. These are older women.
Yes.
These are the mothers of these girls. And sometimes the mothers were here to find a protector for their daughters. So a rich man that will, pay to for these young girls. So some of these young girls will have then marry a rich man and have a more
That's a way
bourgeois
to
life.
upgrade
To
in society.
okay. Yeah. We're going to go because I think we have. I wanted to
Just
show you this painting,
another female painter.
We don't have many times, but because it's another, maybe not very famous artist. Her name is Eva Gonzalez. she's related to the Impressionist group, but she didn't exhibit it with them. So
Why?
she wanted to exhibit at the official salon.
Oh, okay.
And she was very close to Edouard Manet, and Manet always refused to exhibit with the Impressionists. He wanted to stay at the official salon.
Okay.
So you can find many things here that will remind you of Manet, Edouard Manet style. Like, I don't know if you know the painting Olympia, which is also very famous, and you have the bouquet, you have this woman with the necklace, with the pearl, like in Olympia.
But that's a woman painting a woman. That's different from, I mean, that's definitely a female gaze. Women seeing and painting a woman. Different from the women of Manet, definitely.
Yes.
Naked, the only person naked around men, dressed and stuff like that. Yeah.
Here this painting is all about the gaze, and who is looking to who, and the crossing of gazes within the space of the painting and with you. So all is made to feel that for you to feel you're inside the painting. You can see here the balcony, the box in the theater. We are at the opera. This is the box. You can see the curtain. You can see everything is made. She's at your level. She's the same size almost as you. So you can feel you are really in front of her. She's a woman. She's beautiful. She's exposed in her box because Parisian theater and opera is not always about what is on the stage, but what is in the boxes. So she's presenting herself to you. You are looking at her, and she is looking at you either. So she knows you are looking at you, and maybe she also
make eye contact and okay.
She has.
Is she flirting with us?
Maybe she's flirting.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
She has her glasses, so she maybe has seen you and then is looking at you. Here there is a bouquet, so maybe you are an admirer of her, and you gave her a present. And there is a man in the box.
That don't care.
Here.
He doesn't care.
And he doesn't care about her. He's probably looking to another box with another lady.
That's kind of the meme, with the guy looking with his girl and looking at another one. Okay.
Impressionists are really interested to show the complexity and the ambiguities in the relationship between men and women.
And capture the moment. And it was really joyful in life and stuff like that. But I think we're going to have a different setup here.
A very unusual painting, and I wanted to show you also today because when you speak about Impressionism, you think about light, happiness, and people enjoying themselves in nature. But sometimes it's not about happiness. It can be about mourning. It can be about death. And here is a painting by Claude Monet, and it shows Camille. You remember we've seen her on the Luncheon on the Grass.
Oh, that was the one sitting on the.
Yeah, she became her wife. They had a son, and she had a cancer, and she just died. And when she died, Monet was he had a pulsion of painting her and make this very sad image, a beautiful painting about colors, about she has a flower bouquet on her breast, and how all is about to fade a bit, and it's a very interesting,
she begins to disappear.
It's almost like an Ophelia that is going under the water, and Monet was a bit ashamed of having made this painting of his dead wife.
Yeah. He regretted it?
Yeah, he kind of regretted it, and because that's something he considered was a bit
that's
weird.
Weird actually my wife is dead. Oh, let's paint it. Let's paint it. Okay, but I guess it was maybe a way to say goodbye and
so
catch the moment.
He kept this painting all his life in his studio. He didn't show it to anybody. And when they discovered the painting after the death of Monet, they find this painting. It was not signed, so as you can see here there is a signature.
That's a fake one. He didn't do it.
It's a bit weird, and so it's a stamp signature. Okay. It's not a real signature. This painting was not signed by Monet, and this was made after his death to authentify that it was.
And who did it?
Monet. His son, Monet's son.
His son was like, "That's my father. That's my mother."
So we
Okay,
have
okay.
two moves, so there's more money from the 1880s and 90s, and we are moving. We don't have time to speak
see
about
everything,
Sisley,
but
to speak
you
about
guys
Youngkind.
soon you'll be able to visit the museum because it's reopening tomorrow, and so we're so happy you're gonna be able to see all this painting. So here in the RC Museum in Paris, France. But we need to show you some really famous one before leaving. Definitely the Cathedral of Rouen.
So we are still in Monet's life, Monet's art, and that's a room only dedicated to the last year of Monet, and we have probably one of the best collections for the late years of Monet, with all these new radical, innovative ideas of Monet, and one of them is the principle of the series painting, and here we are very lucky because we have 5 versions of this subject, the Cathédrale de Rouen, Rouen Cathedral in Normandy. And it's really radical because Monet wanted to push it further the idea of catching moment and catching a very specific light.
Yeah, and you can see different moments of the day, right?
Exactly. Monet spent almost 2 years in front of the Cathedral of Monet. He rented an apartment.
You mean 2 years? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2 years every day in front of the cathedral.
He rented an apartment in front of the cathedral, and every day he looked at it, and depending on the weather, depending on the day, depending on the climatic condition, of the seasons, the light changes. And so, for example, this is like early morning effect. So he wants to catch this idea of the light.
How do you know that's an early morning?
Because he said it.
Okay, he said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here you can see we have more sunny day probably. Here we have like midday probably with a light very strong, so you have very strong contrast between light and shadows, and you have this opposition of yellow, oranges, and blue and violet to give this idea of strong light. You're almost like blinded by the contrast. And here you have a cloud, maybe in the sky.
Okay.
It's a cloudy day, rainy day. So the contrasts are less important.
Yeah.
And so every painting is about a different moment, a different light.
Okay, different moment of the day, of the year, and so on.
And he made around 30 paintings of the cathedrals.
That's an obsession.
Yeah. He was a bit maniac.
But he did a lot of series, right?
He made a series of cathedrals, around 30 paintings. He made also a series.
The station, we said.
The train station.
Yes.
The station before. The poplars. Here, over there, you have one version of the poplar trees. That was a series.
And of course,
and
the
last
really
one,
famous.
Last one is Giverny Garden, because Claude Monet was from Normandy, and at the end of his life he decided to come back to Normandy. He bought a house near the Seine in Normandy, in Giverny. And then with the money he had at the end of his life, because Monet lived a long time and had a lot of success at the end of his time.
So the painters are not all the time like the painters that are selling their artwork just after they're dead, or he was famous at the on his own life. Oh, sorry.
We have this idea that Impressionist painting were poor bohemian artists all their life, and they had to fight to have recognition. But
so you can be an artist famous and rich. Yeah, that's okay. He was famous and rich at the end of his life.
Yeah. Like from the 1890s, the Impressionism is going to have a very strong recognition.
I told you so.
Wait, you have to wait.
Everybody, they were like, "We told you so." Yes.
And so he had a lot of money. His paintings were selling for very high prices. And so he could buy this house in Giverny, and most of all, he was able to create a wonderful gardens with new species of flowers that were exotic and very expensive,
Mhm.
like water lilies that came from Japan, some of them, and that he created the garden to be an art work,
Mhm.
and then he made all this painting about his garden. Like these two, you have two versions of the what he called the Japanese garden, and here you have the Japanese bridge. And at the end of his life, he will almost spend like 20 or more than 20 years just painting this garden, the reflection.
You said 20 years.
Yeah, something like 25 years almost.
Okay.
Just painting. He made around 300 works just painting his garden in Giverny.
It was like, well, it's sailing. Let's do a lot of them.
And the painting were bigger and bigger and bigger. So
Okay.
at first, like around 1900, they're like that, square. You can see there is a horizon line. So this is the water, and this is the trees with the willows, and you have the reflection. And more is going to focus on this part
Oh yeah.
of the water.
Of the nymph, yes.
He will get rid of what is above, and he will make what we know today as the big canvases of the Orangerie Museum, the big nymphaeas.
So it's going closer to the,
Yes,
you know,
the reflection,
it's
the
going to
surface of the
focus
water.
on something, but make it bigger.
Exactly. And
Okay.
at the end is probably one of the greatest achievements of Impressionism, is the Orangerie Museum, where you are completely surrounded by paintings. Paintings are bigger than you, they have no limits, you are really like immersed in the paintings, like the artist himself, who was every day in his garden looking at the sky, reflecting on the water, something like that.
And that's peaceful, really.
And he was, at the end of his life, he was looking for serenity, tranquility, harmony, so it's also about
It
like
works.
that.
So maybe before the end of the show, guys, we can see. I don't know what time is it.
Maybe we can just go through the galleries to show you
Yeah.
what happened also after and
The
during
transition.
Impressionism, because probably Monet is the most impressionist of the impressionists. So like all his career is about catching light and moment and color. But in the group, within the group of Impressionism, there's other painters that will direct the history of art in new directions. So one of them, very important, is Paul Cézanne.
Some people ask on the live if we are going to see Cézanne, and here it is, guys.
So Cézanne was a friend of the Impressionists. He participated in some of their group exhibitions, but very quickly he came back to his Provence, because he's from Aix-en-Provence in the south of France, and he was very solitary. He worked on his own, in his own way, and patiently he created a new form of art, which is not really about a realistic depiction of a still life, a portrait or something, but which is about how a painting is mostly about shapes and colors. And here, this painting, La table de cuisine, the kitchen table, the subject is unimportant. You don't need to, we don't care about what it is.
You don't need to recognize.
It's just about line, colors, shapes, and how all of this is harmonious within the space of the canvas. And it doesn't respect the perspective, it doesn't respect all the tradition of the Occident, of the Western art history tradition. Like everything is like awkward. This should fall because it's on the edge of the painting. The table.
Come on, guys, look at this line. It's not straight, right? You can see it. So so he was like, I don't give a about that. And
so that's why Cézanne is not really considered an impressionist. He was close to them, but not an impressionist. And he was even more influential for the generation after, the 20th century artists, especially Picasso, Braque, Matisse, and other artists. They were very, very influenced by him, and Picasso was said about Cézanne that he was the father of them, the father of modern art, and especially Cubism.
Mhm.
Cubism was
Because he started to deconstruct the structures
it's
and
a
the perspective.
it's a more intellectual art.
Mhm.
So here we are going very quickly through another room which is about neo-impressionism or pointillism. It's another generation of artists that try to bring science in the representation and in painting.
Science. How is it so?
They want to make the painting even more brighter and even more luminous than the Impressionists, and for that they are going to invent a new theory and a new technique which is dividing colors into pure spots, pure little spots of pure colors, and it's a way to get the more intensity in the colors, but you have to step back,
Mhm.
to look at the painting from afar, and there you see the real colors,
the
real
dots are
composition.
meeting.
Exactly.
It's like pixels actually before.
It's exactly like pixel.
Time.
It's in your eyes that you will make the
Mhm.
mix, the balance of the different colors. But it's more about science, and it's not really about spontaneity like
Okay.
in the Impressionist painting.
And what I really like that when you go to a museum in real life, the difference between seeing a picture in books or stuff like that or on the internet and to go to museum in real life is that you can see all the pencil touches and stuff like that. That really makes the difference. If you have the chance to visit, guys, the museum is reopening tomorrow. So the museum, Orsay Museum in Paris, France, of course. And
We said we want to
last but not least,
wanted to have a look at Van Gogh.
yeah, the very huge star of the museum. The staff is telling me we can finish in French for Van Gogh.
Sorry.
The staff told me we can finish in French for Van Gogh.
Ah bon?
On peut finir en français et ce sera un peu plus vite.
C'est la petite surprise.
C'est la petite surprise.
Alors j'espère que la salle est ouverte.
Est-ce que la salle est encore ouverte? Ah oui, bah alors sinon on va avoir une super surprise. Ça va être parfait. Et du coup,
Ça, c'est les aléas du
ah,
direct.
était le ah zut, on a fait une demande avant, mais peut-être qu'on a été trop long et qu'on sera puni. C'est pas grave, on est capable nous-mêmes de meubler tel des Van Gogh. Regardez, je me coupe une oreille et je suis maintenant Van Gogh. Très crédible. Ah non, non, un teaser raté. Est-ce
Désolé.
que on fait demi-tour? Alors on va refaire un petit tour de l'autre côté. Tu n'as pas un petit
Alors,
Alors, c'est
non,
ça à quoi
malheureusement.
d'être conservateur de musée si on peut pas passer un petit coup de fil pour
Comme
ouvrir
le
ça?
musée est fermé aujourd'hui, il y a des espaces qui parfois sont fermés au public. C'est le cas de la galerie post-impressionniste, dont on peut conserver Van Gogh, Gauguin, Toulouse-Lautrec et d'autres peintures.
Ok.
Donc voilà, désolé pour ce petit.
On vous a vraiment fait un
contretemps.
teasing,
Il faudra venir au musée demain,
raté, il faudra
à
venir
partir
au
de
musée.
demain pour venir voir Van Gogh.
voilà, c'était une
C'est
technique
le-
de com en fait.
C'est le teaser.
C'était pour vous faire venir au musée. Donc demain le musée rouvre, trop bien. N'hésitez pas d'ailleurs à souscrire à la chaîne au
Du
compte
musée
TikTok du musée d'Orsay. Guys, please subscribe to the museum TikTok museum Orsay Museum's TikTok. Sorry, I'm tired and my English is really like rouillé.
And we will be very happy to have
you
you
tomorrow?
at the musée d'Orsay tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you can reserve your
Yeah, because
tickets
there is a
online.
limited George, right?
Yeah, we will have a reduced number
For the
of
safety.
visitors.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we have something like 15,000 visitors a day, and tomorrow and for the next days we have to reduce that. So we will have 30% of visitors, what we have usually. But you can come, you can see all of our exhibitions, the collection. We made some changes in the accrochage, in the layout of the galleries.
You changed some painting that weren't here before.
Yeah, for the new display
the
of the
new year,
collection.
for the world after COVID.
Yeah.
Pour le monde d'après, des nouveaux tableaux ici.
We made,
Parfait.
also, we made some new acquisitions, so the new acquisitions are now on view in the gallery, so you will be able to see all of that. And welcome.
Yeah, please, you're all welcome. We will be really happy to have culture again, because I have to say that I really miss that in my life right now. I mean, I'm in Paris. This is lockdown, and I'm in my small apartment, and I'm like, yeah, living in Paris. Let's talk in French. Ok, très bien.
Eh ben, merci à tous pour ce live. Merci Manon.
Merci beaucoup.
J'espère qu'on vous a donné envie de venir au musée, de
Ouais.
voir ces tableaux en vrai.
Merci pour l'invitation.
D'être derrière votre écran et de les voir en vrai.
Clairement, c'est une autre émotion.
Et voilà.
Si vous avez cette chance, venez voir les tableaux ici. Trop contente d'avoir été invitée en tout cas. Et merci pour toutes ces explications. Tellement d'autres choses à voir. N'hésitez pas à venir. Est-ce qu'on rend l'antenne? On rend le micro. Mic drop. Écoutez, on se disait qu'on ferait bien un petit extra et qu'apparemment vous étiez encore assez nombreux sur le live. Donc pourquoi pas continuer un peu avec Paul. Donc si vous venez d'arriver, on est en live au musée d'Orsay, donc sur le compte TikTok du musée d'Orsay. Je suis Manon Bril, enchantée. Et nous sommes avec Paul Perrin, donc, qui est conservateur ici, spécialiste de peinture et des impressionnistes et tout. Et en fait, nous on se plaisait bien, on pensait arrêter le live, mais comme vous avez l'air d'être contents et nous aussi, on se dit il y a quoi, on va se faire une petite promenade dans le musée, profitons-en. Parce que à partir de demain ça rouvre, mais c'est pas tous les jours qu'on a un musée vide pour soi. Enfin, toi t'as l'habitude, j'imagine. Moi j'ai pas l'habitude et je compte bien checker mes privilèges, je vous le dis. Donc on pourrait se promener encore un peu.
Alors comme vous êtes nombreux, je crois, encore à nous suivre, et alors peut-être certains arrivent maintenant dans le...
Oui, sans doute.
Donc on va essayer de montrer d'autres œuvres qu'on n'a pas regardées jusqu'à présent, on va parler en français.
Ouais, on va parler en français.
Il y a parmi les œuvres vraiment importantes du musée qu'on n'a pas regardées parce qu'on n'avait pas forcément le temps, mais maintenant on peut peut-être le faire. Il y a ces deux couples d'œuvres là, qu'on peut peut-être regarder, c'est quand même parmi les œuvres aussi les plus connues de la collection.
Mais là, il y a tellement de mèmes à faire, je pense. Ça se fait beaucoup les comptes sur Instagram de mèmes avec de l'histoire de l'art et des phrases rigolotes qui viennent compléter. Enfin, tu vois, il est en train de lui dire un truc à l'oreille et enfin bon, je suis sûre qu'il y aurait des bonnes idées à faire, quoi. Je vais éviter de me lancer parce que ce serait une catastrophe et je ferais une blague nulle, mais voilà. Donc, tu disais, c'est l'histoire de tableau.
En fait, ce sont deux œuvres peintes par Renoir, Auguste Renoir, au début des années 1880.
Celui qui ne sait pas peindre.
Celui qui apparemment, pour certains, n'est pas un bon peintre, et je crois qu'ici, on a la preuve que non.
Franchement, ouais, c'est beau.
Voilà, et donc Renoir, en fait, on a vu tout à l'heure, il a peint un tableau très connu qui s'appelle le Moulin de la Galette, le bal du Moulin de la Galette, qui représente un bal public. Et donc en fait, ce thème de la danse, c'est un thème qui vraiment l'intéresse, il y revient à de très nombreuses reprises. parce que la danse, c'est le mouvement. La danse, c'est justement ce que je disais tout à l'heure sur les relations hommes et femmes. Et Renoir a une vision très idéale des rapports entre les hommes et les femmes. Et cette idée de la danse, il y a une forme de
la
fusion.
galanterie.
En fait, oui, exactement. Il y a cette idée de galanterie, il y a une forme de fusion, mais en même temps très respectueuse, très chaste, si je puis dire.
Oui,
entre,
un peu cucu même, on peut dire. Hein. Un peu.
Je sais pas, mais... Et donc il va ici imaginer deux tableaux qui sont des pendants. Donc des pendants, ça veut dire que c'est deux tableaux qui vont ensemble, en fait, qui sont quasi symétriques. Et donc il y a la danse à la ville et la danse à la campagne. Donc c'est un peu comme dans les fêtes de la Fontaine.
Okay.
Et donc ici vous avez d'un côté la danse à la ville qui est plus chic, dans un environnement un petit peu plus bourgeois. Vous voyez, on est dans un salon avec des murs en marbre, il y a des plantes vertes, la jeune femme est très bien habillée, l'homme est en costume du soir en queue de pie. Et c'est vraiment un tableau qui est censé montrer une forme de distinction, de sophistication, de raffinement. Et on voit que ils ont l'air de s'amuser, mais en même temps, c'est pas, ils ne s'amusent pas autant que ceux qui sont à droite, vous voyez. Et ça, c'est la danse à la campagne.
Clairement, il y a une bonne soirée, une meilleure soirée où être.
Il y a une meilleure ambiance quand même du côté de la campagne. Donc ça, c'est peint à Bougival, donc en banlieue parisienne. Renoir allait souvent dans ce coin-là. Il a fait un autre très célèbre tableau dans ce coin qui s'appelle Le Déjeuner des canotiers, que vous connaissez peut-être. Et donc là, il représente donc toujours un homme et une femme en train de danser, mais cette fois, ils sont dans un milieu plus populaire. Ça se voit aux vêtements, ça se voit même au visage. Enfin, ils viennent de se lever, vous voyez, en fait, ils étaient en train de déjeuner. Donc voilà.
Ils sont moins distingués,
ils sont moins distingués, si on veut. Plus naturel, plus comment dire, plus spontané, en fait. D'un côté, il y a une danse qui est l'usage social, c'est-à-dire on va à une soirée, on danse, c'est codifié. Et là, en fait, il y a des gens qui étaient en train de déjeuner, ils ont bu un petit verre, et puis il y a de la musique, et ils se lèvent et ils vont danser tous les deux sur une terrasse.
Là, c'est la bamboche. Ok. Très bien.
Et on voit même dans le contraste entre les couleurs, il y a vraiment quelque chose ici de nacré, de très doux entre les verts, les blancs, les reflets. Et ici, au contraire, il y a des couleurs plus vives, plus fortes. Un contraste notamment entre des couleurs primaires, le jaune, le rouge, le bleu, même des formes géométriques. Vous voyez le chapeau qui est par terre, donc quelque chose de plus...
il y a de la vie derrière.
Et il y a des gens qui regardent.
Il y a de la vie, l'autre ça a l'air un peu plus sérieux.
Alors ce qui est intéressant ici, c'est que ces deux tableaux, c'est pas des vrais... il n'a pas observé quelque chose qu'il aurait pris en photo en peignant. En fait, c'est complètement mis en scène.
Okay.
En fait, il a imaginé ces tableaux et il a demandé à des gens de poser pour lui.
Des gens qu'il connaît.
Des gens qu'il connaît. Et notamment une artiste qui s'appelle Paul Lotte, qui pose pour l'homme. Et les femmes, elles ont deux identités très intéressantes. Cette femme-là, ici, c'est Suzanne Valadon. Et Suzanne Valadon, en fait, elle va devenir peintre après. Elle vient de Montmartre, elle vient d'un milieu très populaire. C'est pas du tout une fille de la bourgeoisie ou de l'aristocratie comme on pourrait le penser sur ce tableau. Elle vient d'un milieu très populaire et en fait, elle va devenir une des artistes de l'avant-garde du début du XXe siècle, plutôt fin 19e, début 20e. Donc c'est vraiment une personnalité très intéressante. Et puis l'autre femme ici, c'est une jeune femme qui s'appelle Aline Charigot, qui travaille comme couturière à Montmartre aussi, qui vient d'un milieu très populaire et en fait qui va devenir l'amour de la ville de Montmartre. En fait, ça va devenir sa maîtresse et puis quelques années plus tard, il va l'épouser et ils auront 3 enfants. Et notamment parmi ces enfants, un homme qui s'appelle Jean Renoir, qui est un grand cinéaste. Donc voilà pour voilà. On n'avait pas parlé de ces œuvres, donc c'était l'occasion de vous les montrer. En face, il y a aussi deux tableaux très beaux de Monet qu'on n'a pas regardé. Peut-être qu'on peut terminer, on peut en tout cas avancer et regarder. Voilà, on regarde juste ces tableaux et puis donc maintenant que la salle Van Gogh est ouverte, on ira voir Van Gogh après. Là, on est en pleine improvisation. Donc ce tableau de Monet, donc c'est intéressant parce que là encore on a deux tableaux qui fonctionnent un peu en symétrie, en pendant, mais cette fois c'est la même personne qui pose pour les deux, sauf qu'elle change de position. On a l'impression qu'elle tourne.
Puis, oui, c'est vraiment la même tenue, exactement. Ouais.
Et là c'est toute la différence aussi entre Monet et Renoir. Monet il cherche à représenter clairement les traits des gens. c'est des portraits en fait. C'est
Monet
vraiment Renoir, excusez-moi. Renoir, c'est vraiment des portraits. Il cherche à caractériser un milieu social, un certain type de beauté féminine, etc. Alors que Monet, lui, de l'autre côté, donc ces deux tableaux,
là, on voit pas le visage.
On voit même pas leur visage en fait. C'est complètement flou. Elles sont dans l'ombre. Ici, on voit même pas les traits. On prend même pas la peine de faire mener les yeux, une bouche. Elle n'intéresse pas.
C'est pas le sujet.
Dans l'autre tableau, là, c'est pareil. Elle a un voile en fait elle a un voile devant le visage. Donc on voit pas ses traits. Ça n'intéresse pas. En fait, Monet, quand il peint ses tableaux, il explique dans une lettre que, en fait, ce qui l'intéresse, c'est pas la figure, mais c'est l'air qui entoure la figure. Et en fait, c'est représenter comment il y a de l'air entre la figure et nous. Et cet air, il est coloré, il apporte de la lumière, il y a des reflets, il y a le vent. Et c'est tout ça qui l'intéresse. Et donc c'est vraiment l'atmosphère qui est autour de la figure, qui fait que tout bouge, que les couleurs se reflètent. Donc il y a des reflets de l'herbe sur le vêtement, il y a des reflets de l'intérieur de l'ombrelle sur le visage. Et comment tout ça baigne dans l'air, dans l'atmosphère. Donc c'est vraiment deux choses très différentes et qui montrent que voilà, l'impressionnisme, ils font pas tous la même chose. Il peut y avoir des individualités et des styles très différents.
Finalement, depuis tout à l'heure, depuis le début du live, on essaie de définir l'impressionnisme, mais en fait c'est difficile à cerner. C'est quand même extrêmement varié.
Oui, parce qu'en fait l'impressionnisme c'est pas un style. L'impressionnisme, c'est un groupe.
C'est un groupe.
C'est un groupe de gens, un groupe d'artistes qui ont des intérêts communs